Hello, and welcome to round 3 of our wonderful research stream about bad therapy with about our Lord and Saviour, Michael Linden.
This douchebag.
He likes to think he's a smart man, but he's not.
Maybe he is a smart man. Maybe he knows what he's doing.
That's
X to
true.
doubt.
There are levels of malice where I am not sure whether it is the bad is a product of sheer incompetence or whether there's malice behind. Either way, the product is the same, and the result of his work, if it comes to the public space, comes into practice, will definitely be abused by malicious opportunists. Anyway, today here with me again are Cyrek and Seda. Seda today with a little more time.
Yeah. I'm hanging around.
Yeah. Have you seen the rest of our thing from last time?
No, I haven't seen the rest of it. That probably was important.
Okay. Cyrek, do you want to summarize?
My brain not working with that. I pretty much basically we went over the causes?
Yes.
Yeah, we went over the causes, and it's still just more conflating it with actual existing things.
Normal shit.
Yep.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
God fucking damn.
Yeah, he also wants to look into how moral injuries are causing his thing instead of actual PTSD. Like, oh yeah, I had to fight child soldiers. You're just embittered.
You're bitter for having. Oh gosh.
Pain, man. It's pure pain. So today, as a starter, I found the English version of his questionnaire, of his self-assessment questionnaire, that most therapists would be using first. It is in... I need to hit the button. StreamYards, yay. It is this one. From University of Leipzig. Leibniz Psychology. Okay. It is his PTED scale, self-rating scale, that he invented. He wrote this in 2013. And I'm sorry, I have gas in my stomach, so if I am burping once in a while, that is not on purpose. Telto. Okay. We need to scroll down a bit. And oh yeah. So we in this paper, there's several things we already went about. And then you have in the like just to note his diagnostic features here again, where he writes, the essential feature of post-traumatic embitterment disorder, his invention, is the development of clinically significant emotional and behavioral symptoms following a single, exceptional, though normal, negative life event. Which would already not be the case. The case in my case, as let's say, slew of events and they weren't all not life-threatening, to be honest. But that's another topic. We usually use the standard for the single event thing. We generally use the here when we talk the example of, well, rape. Gladly nothing that happened in my life as far as I know. But yeah, let's continue. The person knows about the event and perceives it as the cause of illness. Perceives is an important word here. So you blame the event, the bad event that happened, for how bad you feel. That can be your imagination, which is what he's trying to set up in this. For delusional people, this can be the case, yeah. The event is experienced as unjust, as an insult, and as a humiliation. The person's response to the event must involve feelings of embitterment, rage, and helplessness. I don't know. This sounds like a narcissistic response.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, the helplessness can happen to anyone. That is usually where a trauma response can occur from. But embitterment and rage is usually not what you have in a normal PTSD reaction, where he's trying to latch on. He is solely about these aspects, embitterment and rage. That is what distinguishes his PTED from all the other things. And this is this will be important. Remember this. The person reacts with emotional arousal when reminded of the event. Like example, if I remind you of your, well, not so consensual sexual encounter. The characteristic symptoms resulting from the event are repeated intrusive memories and a persistent negative change in mental well-being. Same as PTSD. Affect modulation is unimpaired, and a normal affect can be observed if the person is distracted. With my experience with other people with severe PTSD, that is the same. PTSD does not make depression. The people usually have symptoms of exhaustion that look similar to depression, but they are not actually depression. They're not actually depressed people. The trigger event is a single negative life event that can occur in every life domain. The event is experienced as traumatic due to a violation of basic beliefs. I think this is the violation of basic beliefs. Sounds a little harsher than an insult or a humiliation or just injustice. Then, of course, this basic beliefs is a very subjective thing, because that can be your ideology, that can be your religion, it can be any dogma you hold. If I tell a flat earther that his stuff is bollocks, will he be traumatized and embittered? If I prove to a Catholic that his whole church is corrupt, will he be embittered? If you tell a soldier to shoot civilians, will he be embittered because you violate his basic beliefs about why he is in the military and why he is what he was fighting for, and maybe his humanistic basics? What if you are a part of a troop in some country where you try to stabilize a region in crisis, and you're told by your superiors to do some weapons trading with the Taliban, as we know happened in with the US military. Not that cool stuff, but that won't just make you traumatized you won't just be traumatized and embittered from it. That's nothing I would. So that's nothing I would pathologize. Because if you order someone to do something horrible, for example,
Sorry.
bless you. How do I say this? That will annoy, in the very least, every decent human being. But then again, if we look at this from the perspective of narcissistic injury, all this makes sense. If he's just describing narcissistic injury, this all what he's saying makes sense. But well, you'd need to be a narcissist. But he's saying, oh, personality disorders have to be excluded from diagnosing this. So it can't be a narcissist who has this. But all he's describing is a product of narcissism.
He's basically just saying that he's a narcissist.
I think it's all projection.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like at that point.
Were you still there last time when we stumbled upon his sentence that he believes in he thinks that everyone believes in a just world?
Yeah, I was there.
And we looked it up, and it comes from a social justice paper.
Yep.
Because apparently social justice people, so socialists, believe in a just world up until their, 20s, 30s, 50s.
It's a just world. That's why we have to fight for justice. Really hard.
Kind of disproves the whole point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I said. Like, no, I don't believe that the world is just. Nature is nature. Nature just happens. And society is what we make it. So if we want society to be just, we have to make it. Doesn't mean that it is there. If we stop making it just, it will deteriorate and fall into corruption. It's what always happens in history. So traumatic events of this type include, but are not limited to, so it's an open list, conflict at the workplace, unemployment, the death of a relative. The death of a relative is a violation of basic beliefs. What? Divorce, severe illness, or experience of loss or separation. So everything. This is just everything. Unemployment can make you, can traumatize you and embitter you to what? This is throwing everything in here.
Yeah.
The death of a relative is a violation of basic beliefs. What? But what was your basic belief? That you will ever, that your relative is immortal and will always be there?
Yeah, I mean, in America, we absolutely do not deal with death at all. So yeah, I can see how it's really traumatizing.
Oh, grandma died. I loved my grandma, but bloody hell, grandparents die before your parents, before you. That's the way it's supposed to go.
In most cases.
That's the natural tragedy of life. That's not hell. That's the tragedy. And this
In
tragedy
best
teaches
cases.
us that things are finite. Oh, I forgot to talk more with the grandparent I loved and hear all his or her stories. So maybe now I learned from that that I should savor the people I still have and listen to their stories, their life stories and their experiences, and let them teach me what skills they have, what they can teach me. That would be to me, best interpretation of the when you're a kid and that's and your first beloved grandparent dies. It's kind of what I took from it. But I didn't see that as a what did he say? A violation of basic beliefs. What the fuck? Did I talk over you?
No, I'm just,
okay.
I'm just like trying to put it together in my brain what like he thinks that this level, he's describing every negative experience you can have in your life that everyone has in their life. They can get embittered, but he's not making the distinction between like, normal the human condition and his special little diagnosis, except if I suppose you get a little too upset about it. Which, if you get a little too upset about it and you can't cope, there's other diagnosis for that.
Yeah.
And there's other treatment for that. Is he like, I guess we haven't gotten to treatment yet.
Yeah, we're getting to that today.
But like, he's renaming the human condition. That's what he's doing.
And he's throwing these fig leaves of where he acts as if he's making a difference towards PTSD and to other things, but in practice he isn't. In practice, he's muddling all the borders.
Yeah.
So because we're talking about these, we have to see this all as related to each other because it is supposed to be. So his experience is open list because it's not limited to these examples: conflict at the workplace, unemployment, death of a relative, divorce, illness, severe illness, loss, and separation. Plus more that fall into this level of life happenings. Must be experienced by you as unjust. Well, unemployment can be that, but the death of a relative.
It's just life. I mean, unless something happened to them that is lawsuit worthy.
An insult.
An insult. A death of a relative is an insult?
And this is important. He doesn't write or. It's very important whether he writes and or. And as a humiliation. Death of a relative.
And as a humiliation. It's humiliating to have a loved one die.
How dare you die, beloved grandmother? How dare you do this to me?
Well, they make it about himself here.
Sounds narcissistic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
So because with my bad acting already went into that, because the response must involve, we have an and. Helplessness, that's a common thing in tragic life events. But also embitterment and rage.
Rage.
Death of a relative. Because that stands out the most as a standard sad occurrence in life. And especially if we look at the what was it called? The 5 stages of grief. It has anger in it.
Yeah, that's how some people process grief.
Yeah, and anyone who's somewhat familiar with that or has heard of it is was it 6 stages of grief? They do not need to be. You don't go through them in the same order. It's not a logical step-by-step thing. It's you can go through these phases in any order.
Probably twist back between them too.
Grief. What were they called? Denial, anxiety, bargaining, frustration, depression, and acceptance. So acceptance usually comes at the end, but the others are if you go through them, you don't need to go through all of them, but if you go through them, the order doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And they can take hours to months. So my gut feeling when I first read the main paper was, this is a narcissist projecting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he goes on, the illness develops in the direct context of the event. The person must not have had any obvious mental disorder prior to the event that could explain the abnormal reaction. Yeah, but then that would probably be no one.
Yeah.
Because this kind of reaction, I cannot imagine from anyone without a cluster B personality disorder. Maybe schizophrenic. But the hardcore schizophrenic delusion type. But even then, I'm not sure. I've met 2 in my lifetime, and it's hard to say. They have weird manipulative phases, but that's it. It wasn't the same. But maybe there was something else going on too. I don't know. The schizophrenia is a very special topic that someone else needs to delve into.
Yeah, that's complicated.
Yeah. So, associated features. Individuals with PTED frequently manifest a decreased performance in daily activities and roles. PTED is associated with impaired effectivity. Besides prolonged embitterment, individuals may display negative mood, irritability, restlessness, and resignation. So you're embittered, but you're full of resignation? That doesn't really sound right.
Yeah. What is it? Just you're grumbling in the corner?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
There's a word for that. But victims of bullying can turn out like this, the way he's describing.
Mm-hmm.
Negative mood, irritability, restlessness, resignation. That doesn't mean they have PTED. It just means they are the victims of psychological abuse. And as he said, the prime targets. What was this? He mixed it. He turned it on its head in the main paper. Right. He said the prime targets of abuse are people with personality disorders.
Right.
I think it's the opposite way around. Like at least outside the cluster C. Cluster C is a bit odd with that because that's mainly passively pulling at people. But cluster B is not a victim cluster. that is the psychological abuser cluster. Those are the perpetrators, not the victims. Oh. Individuals may blame themselves for the event. So this is already something a narcissist would never do. Narcissist doesn't blame himself for not having prevented it or for not being able to cope with it. Yeah, this is the opposite of a narcissistic response. While above he describes things that sound like narcissistic injury, this is something that narcissists, to my knowledge, never do. They're unable to blame themselves. They always find blame with others or with things. They always find excuses and justifications. That's their basis of operation. Patients may show a variety of unspecific somatic complaints, such as a loss of appetite, sleep disturbance, pain. A somatic complaint? That's is this common psychological phrasing?
A somatic complaint? Is that just a verbal complaint?
Yeah, because these are symptoms. These would be, if you say unspecific somatic symptoms, I might be more on board, but somatic complaint?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a decent grasp of.
Oh, the search engine tells me unspecific unspecific somatic, and then wants to finish with symptoms.
Huh.
What do I get if I look for complaints? Nope. 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 Nobody seems to use it that way.
Yeah, I've like never heard that semantics is what I'm getting from it, but like
Somatic means physical symptoms,
oh, okay.
physiological things like loss of appetite.
Okay.
That's why when you get into a clinic for depression, and you don't just want to pump yourself full of drugs that do nothing but give you side effects. You get to a psychosomatic unit where a large part of it is physiotherapy.
Okay, yeah.
To get your blood circulation going so that your brain has oxygen and blood sugar again so that it can actually think. Because in the depressed brain, that is just down. The brain doesn't get any fuel. Because you're just if you're just exhausted and lie on your couch all the time with joint pains and all of that.
Yeah.
You need to basically jumpstart the system again. That's what the physiotherapy is for. It's not for any real cramped up muscles or anything. It's just to get you going. It's like these boat motors where you pull the chain until it goes, or like a chainsaw, so that it keeps going on its own. You're just jump starting it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So I see. This seems to be a contradictory part with that PTED patients blame themselves, while everything else sounds like he's describing narcissism.
Right.
Oh yeah, this was the thing I was looking for. The specific culture features. Elevated rates of PTED may occur in times of major social changes that force people to reorganize their personal biographies.
Reorganize their personal biography, like their narrative of their life?
I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to tell me. So I'm autistic. I take things very literal. I have trouble with metaphors. I have to look up what metaphors mean so that I learn the language code. I have no idea what this is supposed to tell me.
You're not alone.
If I have
there.
a biography, I have to resort what I have in my biography. What is this supposed to mean?
Life story? That's the like only thing I could think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, contextualize your life?
is it that personal truth bullshit?
Oh god.
Maybe.
Because that's the way that it's sounding. Because it's not the truth or the facts, it's your truth and your facts. That's all that matters. Which is
that shit.
Okay, the only thing that comes up, aside from how to write biographies in the search engine, is post-traumatic embitterment disorder definition on Google Books. yeah, it's oh, I put this in the wrong thingy. Hit the wrong button. Blub. No, there we go. So here, there's a cutout here from Michael Linden, Max Rother, and Kai Baumann, same people who turn up all the time, from 2006. As 17 million inhabitants of the former GDR, that's East Germany, were faced with reorganizing their biographies, with up to 1/3 of the population still expressing Probably socialistic beliefs. Negative reactions to negative changes in their personal biographies. This must be something, just some weird formulation that he came up with that only he uses. Well,
Hmm.
can I click on this? Yes. Why are you not highlighting whatever I'm looking for? Sorry, I'm too blind for that. Is there another one here? That's just his scale again. No, it's the same text. Okay, mostly same text. So only he uses this phrasing. I have no idea what he means with that. We can only speculate. It's probably what you mean. But what was the other link I had?
Another book by him. Look, it says Michael Linden.
Yeah. The rate of mental disorders East and West were found immediately after the fall of Berlin. Yet 10 years later, patients could be seen with severe psychological reactions to negative changes in their personal biographies. What does this mean? What do you mean with this sentence? The onset was regularly related to a specific event of personal blah, 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 blah. In respect, they just talk about East and West Germany, but what is the actual thing that happened to them? So, 17% of the GDR to reorganize their lives, okay? Many cases, even several times during the following decade. Many biographies made unexpected turns because of changes in the economic, legal, and cultural system. Yeah. That's it's not a change in the biography. That's just your biography going on.
Why call it your biography?
Life
really
story. Is the life story. The life story of people. The lives of people. Okay, the simple way to say this is the lives of people. The lives of people made unexpected turns because of changes in economic, legal, and cultural system. That way, the sentence would be more understandable, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it had to be prohibitively.
So he's pretentious. He's pretentious and possibly uses words wrong. Another indicator for narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Persons who thought I hate when people use that. Say people, individuals, but not person. Persons sound so dumb. Who thought that they could foresee their career suddenly had to realize that their qualifications were no longer honored and that they had lost their social status. So, same happened when the socialists took over. Same happened when the Nazis took over. Same happened when the Nazis were unturned, were beaten. Public servants in high positions had to sell insurance contracts to drive a taxi. Yeah, you know, those were ideological traitors to the people. They were assholes. I don't care if they're poor now. They were part of. They were willingly part of a system that destroyed entire families on a daily basis.
Oh, woe is me.
Yeah, and furthermore, there was a general feeling that East Germans were second-class citizens. Well, that isn't generally true. That is true till today. In a public survey in 2002, 59% of the interviewed said there were still big differences between East and West. Yeah, there is. The income gap is still quite noticeable between East and West, but also your living costs are completely different. Like with the same Yep, and that goes down to the social security you get in East German states, because the rents are cheaper and food is cheaper. You get the exact same products as in West Germany, but they cost a fraction.
That's about how it is here. If you think about it from the North and South perspective, after the Civil War, the South lived in squalor for a very long time, thanks to Reconstruction era policies. And we still have cheaper products, but they're the same products that people up north get.
They're cheaper made or cheaper in price?
Cheaper in price.
Huh. I didn't realize that there was like a price difference like that. I thought that would be like with taxes. I'm new to the South, though.
Yeah. So, furthermore, there was a general feeling that East Germans were second-class citizens. In a public survey 2002, 59 of the interviewed said that there was still a big difference. Only 1% thought that the two parts were fully integrated. Don't think that's even the case today, because there's constant shifts going around in the whole country. Only 20% had the feeling to be full citizens of the Federal Republic of Germany. 30% had experienced a biographical downgrading. Could it be that those 30% had profited from the tyrannical regime of East Germany? Oh, we lost Cyrek. And 10% even wanted the GDR to come back. Schwarzer and Jerusalem in 94. So just 3 years after reunification. 3 years after reunification, 10% of the population of East Germany wanted the socialist regime to come back. I can only believe that to be the actual socialists who were in charge. Cyrek, you're posting me a nightish picture of your cat. That's not helping. Oh.
Oh, he stepped on the power button.
Oh.
That's funny. Go feed your cat.
Yes, it is. Oh, I can show a video file, but I can't.
Can't show.
I can't just show the picture.
Oh, you have to put it up on your screen.
Yeah, probably.
Biographical downgrade, though.
All right, I can do this. Yeah.
I need to do something about my cats.
That is, I'm doxing your cat, Cyrek.
Look at that little shit.
This little shit steps on my power button all the time.
How is it in such steppable range?
Yes, you have a cat. You should know better. This is not the fault of the cat. The cat just does cat things.
Okay, so the way that I have my computer set up is I have my folding table that I use as a desk until I can get an actual desk, and a desk off to the side that is way too short for me to actually sit under.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the PC up on that because there are no shelves on there, and I don't want it on the ground.
Right.
So it has to be up, and in order for them to get behind my monitors, they step over the PC.
Okay. But okay, okay. I rescind my statement. It is the cat's fault, but it is also your fault because you know cats are malicious, and cats don't care. Cats are psychopaths. They're sadistic psychopaths, and you are giving them an opportunity to torture you. That's on you.
This is true. I do that. And now they're sitting in my dresser. They pulled open.
That's like walking through the red light district with a low cut top, and then complaining that you get dog whistles.
Aw, look at that kitty.
Yeah, and the horrible thing about cats is we just look at them and we forgive them instantly.
Hypnotized.
Yeah, it's just
Well, how could you be mad at that face?
yeah. We're in abusive relationships with cats.
Well, look, the abuser is fluffy, so I can stand it.
Yeah, but look, that's how the human versions do it too. They just smile at you and promise sex.
Or in the case of babies, they smile at you and you're like,
vomit
I
in
want to
your
protect
face.
it. I want to protect it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
babies really need to get over themselves. Like, damn.
Yeah, but the baby vomits on you, shits around, pisses around, and you just go, oh.
I mean, if your dad just had you fed and was starting to play airplane with you and hold you up above his head and you just vomit right into his face, it's his fault.
Yeah. Yeah, it
He
is.
should have thought about that before bonding with his child.
This is a true story from my childhood.
Wonderful.
Or when you have 3 ass explosions back to back, which happened to my baby niece.
Oh! I know the perfect title for a social justice feminist paper.
Oh yeah.
God. What is it?
How we are in abusive relationships with our babies.
I bet that fucking exists.
Yeah, it's too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
You little shit, get down.
It would be like motherhood is abusive. Look at what my son, who's 3 seconds old, has done to me.
Hold on.
It's
I'm going to look up those specific words. Motherhood is abusive.
Yep.
I think there was something like that. In that vein.
It's
I remember there was a feminist who complained that all the other women they get a maternal leave, so I applied for it too, but she didn't have a child.
Oh yeah.
so all of them.
I deserve it too.
All of these that I'm looking at refer to abusive mothers.
That's good. That's good to hear.
And the final one is how to gain custody if the father of your child is emotionally abusive.
Mutually abusive?
Emotionally.
Oh.
Ah, okay.
And
Okay,
it's
how do you get custody of your child if the mother is emotionally abusive?
You don't.
You don't.
My
Wait, there is one way. There's one way.
dad would have never had a
She
chance.
makes more than you.
Yeah. Yep.
That is so dumb.
Yeah. They have to do something like verifiably terrible. But usually if they're emotionally abusive, no. I was gonna say if they're emotionally abusive, they might be emotionally negligent. And physically negligent, but no, that doesn't happen. I seen on TikTok plenty all the people destroyed by their emotionally abusive mothers.
Oh, sent me stuff from that.
Or fatherless homes.
Or fatherless homes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's more or less the same, isn't it?
Just a parental figure fucked
You
up.
have-
Although I think the
You have no one to keep the crazy mother in check.
Well, even if you did, they probably wouldn't keep her in check because she's probably emotionally abusing him as well, and he just gets out of the house as much as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know a family story that went that way. Damn. Yeah, but nobody cares about the other way around because the emotions of men don't matter. So
Nope.
the if the mother's emotionally abusive, it doesn't matter because men don't have emotions. Ha 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 ha. They should
Or
show
like-
their emotions more so we can abuse them more. Ha ha.
It's inconvenient for them to have emotions, being like, yeah, I mean, you can have your emotions, but like, don't show them. Like, ugh. Like
Which is what a narcissist says.
Mm-hmm.
And the narcissistic therapist will say to you, because the narcissistic therapist will forbid you from showing negative emotions because the narcissist can't deal with that. You're to act like a robot. And then if you never showed negative emotions, the narcissist will write, the narcissistic therapist may write into the report that, oh, well, you're clearly not affected by the negative life events and they're coping well. So you don't need any help. You don't have any problems and no PTSD or whatsoever because you never had a breakdown while in therapy. Haha. And if you had one, they will go passive aggressive and just slam the worst things on you just to get rid of you.
Yeah, like, no, I'm not okay. I'm just masking really well. And then I come here to not mask, but then you're like, ooh, your mask was nicer to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Where was the thing? I have too many tabs.
Mine gets like that sometimes.
Yeah. I need to when other people do their spring cleaning, I should just clean my tabs instead. Yeah. So changes in their biography, I think with what he means is changes in their lives. Because when I hear the words changes in your biography, it sounds like you're rewriting what happened in your past or contextualizing it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too.
But what he's talking about is just, oh, your life's taking a different course. But that's just your biography continuing.
That's just, is your life plan or your future plans changing? Is that what he means?
Yeah, I think that is that.
Oh
Because I am not leader of the Ministry for Agitation and Propaganda anymore. I have to rely on Social Security now. I can't abuse people with my Stasi mob. Oh, it's so sad. That would be a change in biography, as he says it. Reorganize their personal biographies. So he seems to be very, at least that's the feeling I get. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this. The feeling I'm getting is that he sounds very compassionate towards the socialists of East Germany. And he is leaning his crap a lot on social justice papers, which is socialist papers.
Right.
I wonder if there's a connection.
No, I mean, he's only just getting his base definitions from them, but I don't really think it's related. Sorry, that's sarcasm.
I don't sarcasm the artist, please. It's I just get confused. I don't know when you're joking and when you're not. You need a real sarcastic tone for me to notice.
Sorry, I'll do it. I don't think they're. Yeah, no, they're totally related. That's the real of it. They're totally related.
So, differential diagnosis. Despite partial overlaps in symptomatology, PTD can be differentiated from other affective disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, or anxiety disorders. If you remember, in the main paper we read, he said that PTD can be a product of post-traumatic stress disorder. So it can be standing alone, but it can also be dependent on PTSD. So this is a magical disorder that can be everything, come from anywhere, be in relation to everything, or independent. This can do anything. It's like HIV.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah.
Why do you need a catch-all?
Yeah, I wonder why. About his diagnostic criteria, were you there when we did that? Oh, that wasn't our first one, I think. Yeah, that was in the first stream. Anyway, in contrast to adjustment disorder, the symptomatology of PTED does not show the tendency of spontaneous remission. So it doesn't just disappear. In contrast to depression, affect modulation is unimpaired in PTED. In depression, the specific causal connection between the trigger event and symptomatology cannot be found. Ooh, I wouldn't be so sure about that. It depends on the type of depression we're talking about here. Most people with depressive symptoms that are then diagnosed as having a depression have life problems they can't solve. And when you can help them solve the life problem, which can just be, hey, have you ever tried to write it down? So first you do some sports, and then you write down your problems, all your problems, by hand.
Yeah.
And that usually helps kickstart the whole processing process.
You know, it also actually reminds me of a story. I can't remember exactly where I heard it. Maybe it was like on a TED Talk type of thing. But what depression is and how we like we use medication instead of solving those life problems. Like, I guess a man in, I don't know, like Vietnam or Thailand or whatever, was working in a rice field, and he stepped on an old landmine and lost the leg for it and had PTSD. And so their way of dealing with it is that they gave him a cow. And so he's like, well, you don't have to work in the fields anymore. And he was a lot happier. And we were like, oh, yeah, he's not depressed anymore because he's not in that situation. Whereas, you know, in America, he would keep working that field and be medicated.
Yeah, which just would make him miserable and his productivity miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Which would make him more miserable because he'd see how much harder it is and how much less he can do.
I know. Also think about all of his coworkers that just saw that.
Yeah, they can be traumatized too.
Oh, if it was a landmine, it was probably in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that is to wrap around is, you know, focusing on a lot of coping stuff is important, but also fixing the life problem in a lot of people would actually solve a lot of what depression that's going on these days. A lot of people are depressed because of the terrible fucking system we live in. I'm not blaming specifically capitalism, but just in America, the American system, it creates depressed people.
That it does. That has several issues, but I wouldn't say capitalism.
No, I wouldn't say
the
it
United
either.
States has people don't think about this or are aware of it, but the United States is one of the biggest welfare states on the planet.
Really?
Yes, by the numbers. What you expend in social security spending and all the associated things. You have still weird systems like food stamps,
Right.
but overall, what is being paid for into a social security state is it outpaces Germany.
Yeah.
We have a fucking huge social security system.
I wonder if that's by size, like the size of the U.S. is the size of like 7 Germanys squashed together.
Yeah, so I don't know the if you put it in perspective, how it works relatively, but in raw numbers, it's the biggest. It's one of the biggest ones.
And where's that fucking money going? Probably a lot of grifters.
Yeah. Oh, there's corruption everywhere.
Oh yeah, but
That's
it's really
always
bad
the
in
case.
America.
You basically have to take that into your budget somehow.
You have to budget corruption.
Let's not repair the leaking water pipes. Just tell people to save water, but we're not gonna repair the pipes. So that's the case in New Zealand, where they lose like, I don't know, 3 million liters of water a day or something.
Oh my gosh.
But the populace is told to not waste water.
Yeah, or like in New York, they were telling citizens to unplug their toasters to save power, and Times Square was on the whole time. All those billboards.
Yeah. I wondered the same thing when I was in Berlin at night several times. And there are some, less frequented areas at night. And there was a mall out that I was standing outside. I was waiting for a taxi. And the whole street was dark. All the houses were dark because it was in the middle of the night. But the mall that was closed, brightly lit everywhere. Like, what
Yep.
for?
What for?
And honestly, I am a big enemy of light pollution. I want to see the stars. It also helps with the ecosphere if you turned on the light pollution. Confuses several animals, not just insects. Huh.
Sea turtles, yeah. Baby turtles.
Sea turtles? Oh,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They're mistaking the lights of the cities for
The moon.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they crawl inward instead of towards the sea.
Yep. And like
That's why a lot of researchers will go out there right before hatching season for sea turtles and guide them. They'll set up like little barriers to where the baby sea turtles can't go.
yeah, well, I was spending a week on one of a sea turtle protected beach, and it was a wedding, so we wanted to turn on like the string lights, but there was a lock on the power box, and they were told that it was actually you have to get a permit by the city to turn on lights because it was right on the beach for those sea turtles. So which we got because it was one night. And it was fine, but like it was dark all around there. I still didn't really see any stars because there's stuff around it, but yeah, the sea turtles need the reflection of the moon to find the ocean, and apparently you can't just pick up the sea turtles and throw them in the ocean, or else it ruins their sense of direction and they can't find their families.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Look what efforts we have to take just to if we're honest about this, we are meddling with the natural evolution of the sea turtles in just to save them.
Basically, because like, oh gosh, the sea turtles are so delicate because also of climate change, which is something that happens. It's getting warmer south, and sea turtle gender is determined by temperature, and their laying fields.
You mean their biological sex is?
Yeah, their biological sex. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm still taking this seriously for some reason.
Right. Their sex, their penis and vaginas are determined by the temperature.
That's I didn't know that. That is interesting.
Yeah, so like a whole clutch of eggs will usually be one gender in that area because of the temperature, and because of the shifting climate and their laying patterns, they have, I can't remember which gender they have too much of, but they have an unbalanced gender pool now, and so they've been migrating farther north to get the other gender.
Sex.
To get the other genitalia.
The other thing. What people don't seem to take into account is how the solar cycle and the Jupiter cycle are affecting the Earth's climate as well.
Really?
Yes. Jupiter has such an intense gravity well that it pulls us further from the sun when we get closer to it. So what happens to the Earth? What happens to the sentence structure? Okay. What happens to the Earth if we get pulled further away from the sun? You can imagine. I think that's a sort of a 12-year cycle, and then we have the solar cycle, which is, I don't remember off the top of my head, something between also 12 and 20 years. I have to look up all the stats. Which is the appearance and disappearance of the solar spots, which can also eject large bursts of energy. So there's this whole other cosmic ballet going on that also affects our climate that nobody talks about, and that does a number on us.
Wes, don't you know? Humans are the only factor for climate change.
Yeah, Genghis Khan was definitely.
No. You got to get more specific. That it's consumers' fault.
Oh no, it's
Only
capitalism's fault.
It's capitalist consumers' fault, not the corporations and the oligarchy.
Oh yeah, it's capitalism's fault because China never had any impact on the environment.
But no, like what you're saying, Wes, is something that I learned back in middle school. And
Really?
yeah, and then they started taking that away.
Really?
Oh, they took it off the curriculum?
I mean, this is the
I
first
wonder
time I've
why.
heard about it.
Because we as humans have to be at fault for everything that goes wrong with this world.
So we just remove all. So we just omit everything that is a threat to the narrative. It could give us bad ideas, huh?
Like there's a YouTube channel called Suspicious Observers, and they have a series on the disaster cycle that happens every 12,000 years, and they call out climate science and be like, "Hey, you're taking into account all this big variable."
Aren't we late on the disaster cycle?
Yes, we are late by about 1,000 years.
Damn it! Why?
Oh shit! And we have the pole shift coming up too. That will be fun. When is that? Estimated 2035?
Yep, 2035. Though it could happen sooner because the poles are moving much faster.
Yeah. What? Oh god, shit. What exactly will happen when the magnet? I know this is completely off topic now. What will happen with the magnetosphere when that happens? Do we have to shut off all our computers, or will that not even make a difference?
We don't know the full extent, but here's the problem with that: if the pole shifts and we're expected to have a solar flare at the same time, if it's a big one, our magnetosphere is gone.
That's like a gamma lightning. Like no, what's the English? Gamma spark? Gamma what?
Gamma shower?
Gamma burst?
Gamma burst. We have gamma burst. We have gamma showers.
Yeah, a big gamma burst that would just kill all life. This sounds like it's the homebrew version of that.
But so many factors have to go in. So many factors have to happen at just the right times for the magnetosphere to be blown off by a solar winds or solar flare.
Yep, but I guess we happen to be born in the time where mathematically they all collide.
You know, Murphy's Law.
So what you're saying is that I should give up on trying to lose weight and I'm just going to drink more soda.
No! No, stay sexy.
Given to despair.
No, stay sexy but cuddly.
That's what I
am. Interesting times.
I'm just bony.
I am right in the middle.
I've cuddled a bony man before.
It was judo with a bony girl. Was so horrible. Nobody wanted to train with her because everybody got reflex damage.
Reflex damage from her bony shit. She put pads on the bones.
Yeah, it's like in Diablo 2 when you activate the Fawn aura, and all damage you get is thrown back with 33%. That's what doing judo with her was, and eventually nobody wanted to train with me anymore either because I had the same thing, and then we had to train together, and it was just horrible for both of us.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yes, it is. It is. But her friend was a cutie. Holy shit. I hope she had a good life. I hope she had a wonderful life. It's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. That was 20 years ago. Okay, back to this horrible paper. Maybe we're done before the disaster cycle triggers.
This is the disaster cycle.
Oh God. Hey, it fits. We are alleged. Many weird people say we are in the Kali Yuga, so it all fits together.
Mm-hmm.
All
We're
the
the
doom
bears.
prophets were wrong. It's just gonna happen with the all at the time of the polar shift.
We're in the Bernstein universe. I want to go back to the Bernstein.
What?
Berenstain.
Bernstein.
What?
There's the Mandela effect.
Oh
where-
God! Get to stop with that. Whoever came up with that term should be very, very badly hurt. So reorganize the personal biographies. This is such a bullshit line. It's making me angry. This is making me bitter. Having to read lines like this.
Embitterment.
Are you feeling embittered?
Yes. From pretentious pseudo-intellectual lines like this. Reorganize their personal biographies. Like what am I hitting a sort button and sorting the words alphabetically? What the fuck are you talking about? or reorganize the chapters like I put a fourth grade before third grade now or something? What the fuck are you talking about?
Who even has a biography? You're just writing out your life.
You have to reorganize your life story. What does that mean? What words? I'm sorry. I'm just hung up on this. Pains me. So, in contrast to adjustment disorder, the symptomatology of PTED does not show the tendency of spontaneous remission. In contrast to the okay, we had this. While in post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety is the predominant emotion. Yes, I can attest to that. In PTED, it is embitterment. That's something I'm not familiar with.
Embitterment.
Yeah,
It all comes back down to embitterment.
Yeah, that's his. He's just. You're just bitter because of the things that happened that you perceived were done to you. You're just bitter. You're not anxious. You're not panicking or anything. You're not grieving. You're bitter. You're just bitter. You're just bitter that things aren't the way you want them to. This is tantrum shit. This is narcissistic tantrum shit.
Mm-hmm.
In PTSD, there must be a critical event. It has to be exceptional, yes. Life-threatening, yes. And most important, is invariably leading to acute panic and extreme anxiety. Yes, it can also lead to a psychic death. That is something.
Psychic death.
Yes, I don't mean the hippie version of that, where it's where they talk about ego death and oh, you're reaching higher planes of existence by just your sensory processes overloading.
Yeah.
That's something else. The psychological version of psychic death. I went through that. I am pretty sure I did. It was like the understanding the world model. Like you have your core being, your core self, and extending from that are all your basic beliefs, trust things, abilities. All the way outward, you end up with minute actions, like how to solder, how to play the piano, the things that you can easily the and where you're saying, oh, I did this wrong, I just changed this. The more deeper, the closer to the core, to your core, there is an error. The harder it is to implement that, to repair that, to update that, because everything that is subsequent of that is dependent on that, will have to be reevaluated. which is why most people react with cognitive dissonance and denial when they get a reality check that shows them, oh, this basic thing here, closer to your core, is wrong. So usually the first reality check is just dismissed because that can just be a calculation error or sensory error. But when it's repeated, that causes stress because your mind at some point has to make the decision, do I update this after all, or do I just go into denial? And do I fight for the denial? Because your brain is always about saving energy because it is the organ that uses the most of it. While it's not the healthiest thing to go into denial, it certainly saves up energy. It causes another form of stress, but that's another issue. Imagine a religious person having a falling out with that religion. Your whole world breaks apart. Or, well, not your whole world, but a large chunk of it. And then you have this big hole that you have to reorganize, have to rebuild rather, with your new understanding of how the world works. That is without your religion, without your belief, without your faith that made you that simplified things a lot. Now you have to do all of this on your own. And a psychic death is when everything's gone, absolutely everything. And so I was sitting there on a field in a drizzle. It must have looked like I'm meditating. So there were, I know there were constantly tears running down my face and it's snot coming out of my nose, but I wasn't moving. And it was as it, so I couldn't move. Like I had no access to my motor functions, and it was as if it's not a hallucination. It's like something between in your, how do you say that in English? Your inner eye, your mind's eye, your imagination.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when you daydream, when you actively daydream. Mind's eye, is that it? It was as if I was drawn down, pulled down into my subconscious that was working at extreme high speed, where all the calculations are going on around me at like a million at the same time, and trying to rebuild this whole thing, this whole system from the ground up. And since the whole brain is needed for that, I guess that's why the conscious part of it is also pulled down. This is just my interpretation of it. I don't know if there are any papers on this that or any other things. It's a bit close to home, so I'm trying to stay focused. And it's as if I was in the center of this, and then you imagine yourself sitting at a great desk, and you're also forced to work on all of this stuff, but your subconscious is working so fast on everything, and you're just this very slow conscious part of yourself. But the subconscious is it does calculations you can't comprehend. But you also have to work on this now because we need to move this body again. So it's like you get a paper on your desk and you have to solve this problem now too and rebuild this. What happens is that I had to reevaluate every event and every decision I had made in my life. Again, things I had made my peace with. Not because I was suddenly upset at them again. No, just because I have to reevaluate everything. So I have to make every decision, every evaluation of my life again. And that is with some things that is very excruciating. The whole thing is excruciating and just drains you completely. And after a while, I think it was 2 hours or something, I got out of that state and could move again. I was cramped up and exhausted, but fucking hell. And the stupid thing about that is most of those decisions, almost all of them, came to the same conclusion. So still, most of that system is the same afterwards. The only thing that happened is that at a very wonderful day, at a very wonderful event, that had no indicator for something bad happening of the sort that happened, my former abusers turned up. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whom to turn to. Because this was the play, and I had gotten securities from the people who were organizing the event from another place that wasn't a talk about that event in particular, but where I got assured that that person would be no problem. If in the event that person would show up in our club. But then at that event that was held by our club, that person showed up, and I just like someone hit the big off switch with a big reset button. So that's and I call this. I didn't know what to call this. I just very vividly remember this going through this. Why I call this a psychic death is because weeks later, I saw one of the talks by Jordan Peterson about his Bible thing, and in the Q&A, someone asked the question if he can explain what a psychic death is. And he explained the exact thing I just told you. In slightly different words, but he described what I went through there. The only difference is that he uses a two-dimensional example, and when I take my time and explain it, the model I'm explaining it's three-dimensional. But that's all. It's just a visual aid. Are you skeptical of Mr. what is it? Crabs? What? No.
Mr. Crab.
Lobster? Mr. Lobster?
No, it's just something I haven't really heard before, and it's really like I'm also really tired.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking so long.
No, that's okay. It's just the fact that I'm tired and I haven't eaten yet because
Aren't you making muffins?
I told you roaches climbed into the batter and I rinsed it all out.
Oh god, that's why you said batter so often. I missed that part.
Yeah, the roaches, when I went to go put them in, were in the batter. Not that they were in the batter, but they climbed in while I was set the muffin tray on top of the oven.
That is horrible.
Yeah. It's horrific.
Can't you sue your landlord?
Honestly, like, maybe I fucking should.
Because this is going on for way too long, especially with the rent you pay.
Yeah.
It's like, did he just disinfect your apartment, or you have to do that with the whole building?
I don't know. They have an exterminator guy come in and he puts baits and like sticky traps down and around, and then I think he sprays something. I don't know.
Yeah, you won't get rid of roaches if you just do a little bit here and a little bit there. Like,
they're like the tiny ones. They're not the giant mammoth boys, because the giant mammoth boys don't come in and stay. It's the little ones.
Ew. Yeah, but still, you have to entrap the whole house.
It was because I had cats.
Do they hunt roaches?
No, they don't really. It's just that the poisons you would put down for roaches could be ingested by the cats.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, get this over with. So, in PTSD, there must be a critical event that blah, 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 blah. And most important, it's invariably leading to acute panic and extreme anxiety. Yes, that is a very horrible state to be in. You can't even sleep then, if you're really unlucky for days or longer. In PTED, there's maybe you will have some second sleep or whatever you call that in English, but you will not. The first months, it was just 2 hours a night at best for me, and I was just right again up in my bed, like, oh, do I have to fight a tiger now or a lion? I could run around the house in a marathon. Instant. It's so strange. But your brain never gets a break is the problem. So you can't really regenerate. So in PTED, there's always an acute event that can be called normal, as it can happen to many persons in a life course. Still, it is also exceptional, as it is not an everyday event. So this is what we interpreted from his bad formulation in the big paper. We interpreted that right with his normal but exceptional, common but exceptional. Yeah. So for him, it's important that the event is life-threatening. But I don't think he ever defines what he understands as life-threatening. Because, big question, is a rape life-threatening? Is that a life-threatening event? Because it happens. It's a common event on the planet. It's just exceptional when it happens to you, but overall, it's just a completely common thing. Especially the feminists. No, they say we live in a rape culture in the West. I mean, they've not heard of Southeast Asia, but well.
Oh yeah.
And especially sexual child abuse in religious groups, like the Catholic Church that he's a part of, or the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's not life-threatening in most cases. The children are just told to it's love everyone, forgive your abuser, and then sit in a Bible study with him. Are the children just bitter? Because this is what I think this whole thing is made for, this PTED thing. Just to shut up the children or the dissident of the oppressive regime, to say that, oh, well, it wasn't life-threatening, was it? I don't know why my doorbell just rang. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Since I don't know of anyone coming over, I'm going to ignore that.
Probably a solicitor.
The neighbors tend to abuse me as a door opener, so I have this here planned. So fuck that. I'd hate to break this off because we didn't even get to the Jews, taking too long. Yeah. So with this, you can just shut up children who got through sexual child abuse. It's pretty shit. Test construction, criteria, references. You see his name quite often here. Linden M, Linden M, Linden M, Linden M, Linden M, Linden M. And oh yeah, here we got the questions. This is a bit small. And the prevalence of how people answered them. So that's why the numbers are in this order, because it's 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. You have the full listed down here. Maybe that's more readable. So maybe you want to take note. I'm very sorry I can't talk about the numbers used here that he because I am not familiar with this process of the research. I do see they're very high, so they're very, very high correlations, I suppose, which would look like it's giving him a lot of validity. But someone who has actually studied this would need to give a proper analysis of this, like Aiden, for example. Okay. So this self-rating scale works with the introductory question of, does he have it here? Because it's not in the final thing. The questionnaire starts with the line. And if you want, you can think through if you had a severe PTSD-like thing in your life, or complex PTSD would be even better, because that will misdiagnose this instantly. And then tell us in the 0 to 4 point scale, so it's a 5-point scale, how much it would be true to you, with 0 being not true at all, and 4 being extremely true. So 3 and 4 would be the definitely true and extremely true. So the introductory sentence is, during the last years, there was a severe and negative life event, and is then followed by individual statements. So the questions for that you can then answer with not true at all, hardly true, partially true, very much true, and extremely true. That hurt my feelings and caused considerable embitterment. There's an embitterment question. If you want, you can keep track of it, of what comes up how often. Would be embitterment 1. And personally, I would say, if you got raped, I think that hurts feelings and could make you bitter, at least in the short term. That's why it is important to seek justice with that. That's why you quickly need to go to the police and go through this humiliating process of taking evidence. Because otherwise you'll just be stuck with, oh, well, you could have done something, but you didn't. Because if you wait too long, you can't take the evidence anymore. Number 2. That led to if you want to jump in, just say so.
Yeah. Just listening right now.
Okay.
I always have trouble reading charts. Never did well on them.
That's why I'm reading them for you.
It helps, because I also cannot read this thing. Like I don't understand the numbers.
That's what goes close to 1 means it's a very positive sign of the thing you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
That would be the simplest way to say this. I'd love to have Aiden on for this, but I think we'd bore her to death.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? So, question 2. That led to a noticeable, so the negative life event, that led to a noticeable and persistent negative change in my mental well-being. Do you think you need to be embittered for that? Could that just be... Could that also be explained by PTSD?
It's very imprecise language.
Yeah, it's a catch-all.
Persistent negative change. That can happen for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Could have a shitty job and get diagnosed with PTED.
You should just forgive your abusive employer. Roll over and take it. So 3, negative life event, that I see as very unjust and unfair. Again, keep rape in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Was that unjust? Was that unfair? Is that a very true statement?
Just
Man.
I'm just confused.
Number 4, about which I have to think over and over again. That's just PTSD.
It's just fixating.
Yeah, but with PTSD, the stuff just comes up. It's intrusive, or rather, it's always going on, and sometimes it just bursts through into your conscious mind. In the subconscious, it's always present.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So 5, that causes me to be extremely upset when I am reminded of it.
Sounds like PTSD.
Yeah, also good rape example. Would you be upset if you're reminded of your rape? Or of whatever PTSD or whatever caused your PTSD. Someone reminds you of the thing. Like the first social worker I had. That was a prime passive aggressive covert narcissist. Holy shit. And a complete child. Like the man was 35 or something, but he had a personality of a 12-year-old girl. It was so bizarre. It was tall, giant hands, and then this feeply, lispy voice. A caricature. It was like a cartoon character. And he one day had the glorious idea because he wanted to have something to say to me, because this guy had absolutely no clue of everything. You have to become a social worker in Germany. You have to study for 3 years and have to pay for that privately. There's no student loan for that. To then get into a field that is completely underpaid.
Oh gosh.
So you better have good reason to go into that. And not be a complete and utter failure as a human being. So that guy, in order for him to have something to tell, he told me that, oh yeah, in last week in his street, he saw one of my abusers walking down the street. He said that out of the blue. Like, why? Why do you tell me that? What do you think happens if you tell me that? What's the worth of it? Is there something noteworthy of that I don't know, can help me for legal proceedings or something? Is there any interesting information about that, or just that you saw him or her walking down the street?
Thinking about it, the prohibitive cost might be something that makes sure that people who want that narcissistic control over people are nearly the only people that end up going into it. If even casual people who are just normal people, there's a prohibitive cost. Yeah, they're the truly caring people who get burnt out really quickly, or the people who get their narcissistic fuel from the job. I mean, that's a thought. I don't know if it's true at all.
To my experience, 90% of social workers are narcissists. They're emotionally immature.
Mm-hmm.
That includes those who can mask it better and can act more like adults, but over a prolonged time, you will notice that nope, they're just as deliberately neglectful, manipulative, and passive aggressive.
Yeah, because if they're not getting paid, then they must be getting something out of it that's keeping them around.
It's usually so they are getting paid, they're just getting badly paid.
Well, yeah, sorry. Well, that's what I meant.
On top of that, the social
badly
worker
paid.
companies tend to be massively corrupt.
Yep.
And what they get out of it is with simple patients, and for that instance, and only for that instance, borderliners would count as simple patients. Otherwise, they would count as impossible patients. Is that they do it in order to find reasons to pat themselves on the back. And with a simple patient, client, you can do that very easily. You do something that's not worth very much, but that the client could do him or herself. With a borderliner, the borderliner will give you constant, as they're emotionally random almost, and manipulative. Borderliners will make you feel as if you did something positive. They will give you positive moments in between the poison, so that you keep coming back. So that narcissistic social worker will think, oh, I am having a positive impact. Let's pat myself on the back. With a serious patient who will only get better from relevant progress, relevant action, not just from the social worker sitting on the couch and imagining that he has an area of effect healing aura that just magically heals the client, which is what the narcissists seem to think.
Huh.
So that patient, that client, will only get better when relevant things happen, and that usually involves actual work being done,
Right.
and finding good therapists for the correct therapy, for example, which can be very strenuous. That client will give honest feedback, most likely, and maybe also critique, maybe not, but will give praise only after actual good deeds, not pointless crap. Which means that over a prolonged period of time, if there is no significant positive achievement, positive progress, or progress at all, this narcissistic social worker will get tired with that client and start being passive aggressive to get rid of that client, because the social worker isn't getting anything out of that.
Yeah.
While that is the very client that needs him the most.
Yeah. It's so counterintuitive.
Yeah. That's why I hope that at some point we will have some tool that correctly enough measures emotional maturity, that we can put as filters into all these jobs that have to deal with humans, like social work and psychotherapy and all this stuff. Teaching, like narcissistic teachers, holy shit. Don't get me started.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just like the worst type of mom, but destroys your life. Well, no, I guess a mother will destroy your life even more, but a teacher is like a step down.
Yeah, a teacher can make you unable to learn anything if damaging you enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And even if you want to, you just can't anymore, and it will spill over into other subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question number 6. Negative life event that triggers me to harbor thoughts of revenge. So this is something very special. And so far we have more or less of a mix. We have, if I count right, 4 accounts that also fit PTSD. And we have a catch-all, and we have one with embitterment. Revenge is a very special thing. And borderliners, narcissists have that all the time. For all the small slides they get, that they perceive or that they imagine, antisocials as well. Someone with PTSD, even someone who got raped, does not necessarily harbor thoughts of revenge.
Yeah.
And remember, he made his PTED mainly about aggression and revenge. Vengefulness. So that you want to get back at whoever did whatever to you. 7, for which I blame and am angry with myself. This is something that happens a lot with PTSD. I've known it from rape victims that they blame themselves, that they're angry with themselves, and this is an important part for your therapy, for your therapeutic process, for your processing, because first you start with blame, but over time and with some guidance, you can get there faster. From that blame comes the thought of what could I have done differently, and then you can incorporate those ideas, those cognitions into your memory, and you're not changing the memory, but you are changing your understanding of it, so that you now have the missing puzzle piece that normal processing would give you automatically, is of what could I have done differently, so that if I come into the same situation again, it won't play out the same way, and I can actually do something. I can defend myself. I can defend someone else, etc. It's the lack of that answer is what makes people feel helpless, and why the trauma keeps coming back all the time, because it needs that answer. It also needs the answer to the question of why, but it also needs this answer. Any thoughts or corrections on that?
No, just processing.
What?
Sorry, I said just processing, like.
Okay.
You're right that it does seem like it is the narcissistic response, because revenge isn't that uncommon either. And I wouldn't even say it's a PTED. I mean, if someone has done a wrong against you, I mean, like, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of like r/petty revenge, or even nuclear revenge. And that's just a common thing that happens to so many people. And some of these things aren't even terribly tragic. It's just it's justice that maybe someone has done something shitty and they deserve to be punished, wherein they wouldn't be punished in the system itself because it's not illegal, or the punishment is to make sure that the system itself gets notified, and that's the revenge.
Yeah, because he makes no distinction between that.
Yeah.
Between those things that you mentioned. For example, my landlord has not repaired the heaters in my apartment for 4 years. They're offline during winter. I have a radiator here now that I pay with the electrical bill. And the tenant association is doing nothing but writing a not even unfriendly letter, a reminder of, oh, can you please fix this thing? And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what I actually need, and technically what they should have been doing already, is push this forward to the courts. But the tenant association is a paper tiger that just, I guess they so they have lawyers, but they're not getting active. Technically, under German law, this is bodily harm. It's also neglect of his property. And so basically, I need a new law, or an actual lawyer for this thing here. Technically, I need to be paid damages. So this guy is doing this on purpose. I've had mail exchanges with him and over the tenant association where he's actively gaslighting, and other things. So in a case like that, so I want justice. And first of all, I just want working heaters.
Yeah. I mean, that's a basic thing.
Yeah. So technically, you could not rent this apartment to anyone because the heaters don't work. It would be criminal to do that. It is criminal to do that. Anyone in my position would be justified to want any sort of revenge against this guy after this long a time, which also includes suing him that is justice is a part has an overlap with revenge. Justice is supposed to be the justice system. When it works as it should, as it's supposed to be, as it is supposed to what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say something else than reflect. But let's go with reflect. It's supposed to reflect the most basic, broadest, purest sense of justice we can imagine. Because and it's supposed, we have made the system in the civilizatory technology of a justice system so that the individuals do not need to resort to vigilante justice, because that tends to go overboard and usually tends to end bloody, and often tends to create a cycle of hatred, death, murder, and family feuds. That's why we have this justice system, so that we can outsource that and let it be handled by a third party. I like this idea of civilization. So I want these kinds of systems to work and work properly and not be corrupt. So if you are a mature being, you say, yes, I want to get back at that person. I at least want to be compensated. I at least want the things that are supposed to work, and maybe I want to be compensated. I'd be happy if just the bloody things work. I don't expect that guy to do anything. What I would be happy with if he would pay my electrical bill retroactively, that I would get that money back. I'd be fine with that. That would be enough for me. So to break even.
Yeah.
Revenge would go beyond that. At least in my understanding.
I'd say so too, because not having heaters. Oh my.
Oh yeah. One of the things he wrote was that your heaters can't be broken because then you couldn't be living there. So you're lying. He accused me of lying because if the heaters were broken, I couldn't be living here.
But the heaters are either objectively broken or not. What kind of logic is that?
Dumb logic.
Well, he also said that he checked the staircase about my accusation that the neighbors were drying their clothes in the staircase, and thereby obstructing the stairs. He checked, they aren't doing that. And I had someone over that day here and had done photos that day and the day before. And the bloody thing, I opened it. I had received a letter. I opened the door, and the bloody thing was still standing right in front of me. The clothes rack was still standing right in front of me outside my apartment door. And I read this letter, and to the guy who was here that day, and then, see here, he says this isn't in front of me. This isn't here. He checked. It isn't here, and it hadn't moved for days.
That man did not even get up out of his chair before saying bullshit.
Yeah, he just claimed I was lying. He lied to me. This is what gaslighting is.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day still stood there. So fuck off.
Right.
Fucking hell.
I just walked through it as if it weren't there, like an NPC.
Dude, had this gone on just 1 week more, I would have thrown the bloody thing with all the stinking clothes, and they were stinking, down the fucking stairs.
Oh gosh, they just left the clothes on it too?
Yeah, it's where they dried their clothes. And
Anyway.
My neighbors run the washing machine past midnight. It's on my side of the house because it's the bathroom. So this here was an attic before. It's now made into an apartment. But there was only one bathroom up here. So the bathroom was cut up. It's on this side of the house. And so one half is mine, accessible from inside my apartment. And the other half is accessible from the staircase. That's the half that belongs to the other apartment. Instead of putting a bathroom in the other fucking apartment. And so their washing machine is on my side of the building. And when it goes after midnight, it's on my side of the building where it goes. And then I get complaints by the neighbors below me that I'm doing the whole noise pollution crap, which then gets relayed to the landlord, who then writes a complaint to me that I should stop making so much noise after midnight. And and the neighbors, they leave their clothes in the washing machine for like a day or something, and you know how much that stinks then.
Oh yeah.
And those clothes they then put up on the drying rack in the staircase.
Oh, so they put mildew. Is the staircase outdoors? Or
No,
is
it's inside the building.
Oh, so they put mildewy clothes on a drying rack.
Yes.
It sounds like they don't do anything about the mildew.
This is the generation for whom mommy did everything, but mommy didn't teach them anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how this comes to pass. And I think my landlord is much the same generation. Did Botan make a picture? No, Botan didn't make a picture. That would have been nice. So if such stuff continues and you want to be civil about it, then solve it in civil ways. But the other side isn't, because they're all children and acting like children, but like narcissists. Narcissists and children is the same thing, just that normal people grow out of that as they grow up. You can talk with them like adults, but with narcissists you can never talk like adults. But they hide behind the walls of civilization just to keep doing shit. You can't get to them. You can't do what you would have to do with a narcissistic child, which is, as hard as it sounds, spank it a little. And most children, I agree completely. Most children don't need that. Only in the worst of overstepping boundaries, in the absolute worst. But narcissistic children, the children that stay narcissistic, they need that reminder a little more often. And thankfully, that's very rare. So narcissistic people, they are the bane of society. I'd say that. But thankfully, they are not a majority. If they ever are, it would be the end of society, I believe. Well,
True anarchy.
To anarchy?
True anarchy.
No, narcissists don't build anarchy. Narcissists build cults of personality.
Oh.
So we'd end up with Mad Max. Which is fun as movies and video games, but not in reality.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
People are like, I want to live in Fallout. And I'm like, no, you fucking don't.
Yeah, definitely not. So, the 7 is I blame myself and I'm angry with myself. That's something narcissists don't do. But victims of actual crimes tend to. 8, negative life event that led to the feeling that there is no sense to strive or to make an effort.
Depression?
The end point of depression, I would say. This is where you are bordering into nihilism. And that's when you've been constantly beaten down, constantly being gaslit, and there's no way out, no help, no nothing, and you're about to give up. I'd say this is 3 steps before suicide or worse. But yeah, we can just go with depression.
It's just I see, yeah.
No, my brain always jumps 3 steps ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I totally
Reel
get
me
it.
back in if you need to.
Like I said, I probably am gonna need to get food soon. But I'm still here.
Will you come back? Will you eat at the computer?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, number 9. That makes me to. What is the sentence?
That makes me too frequent. I think he's missing an O. That makes me too frequently. Wait, this fucking sentence is tough.
Let me check on the German one. Where? This one. Yes. Number 9. Durch das meine Stimmung häufig niedergeschlagen und gedrückt ist. Often. I think it means often. Just frequently. That makes me frequent. The 2 just should be gone.
Oh, okay. So that's just a translation error.
That makes me frequently feel sullen and unhappy. That just sounds like mild depression or grief.
Yeah.
That is definitely grief.
Mm-hmm. So, that impaired my overall physical well-being. A negative life event that impaired my overall physical well-being. Well, if the Stasi broke your legs, that wasn't life-threatening. That just impaired your overall physical well-being. Yeah, but God, this is so vague.
Yeah, like impairs my overall physical well-being. You know what else does that? A sprained ankle.
Negative life event.
Negative life event. I have PTED from stepping wrong on a crack, and I have
Stop my little toe now for the rest of the day. This is. And if I think back on that stubbed toe, it just. I'm angry with myself that because I didn't pay attention, I could have prevented this. The stubbed toe. I could have prevented the stubbed toe. Makes me so unhappy when I think about that. It makes me wonder whether I even should go on, because I will just stub my toe again. I just want to kick the fucking thing I stubbed my toe on and destroy it. I take utter destructive revenge on it, like Asura the Destroyer.
I got thrown in the gulag for getting PTED from stubbing my toe.
It was just unfair. I mean, I took all these nice steps all day, and then I stubbed my toe. Why? Why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? Maybe we can go through all of this with a stubbed toe, but that's joke or not. This is just way too vague. So, number 11. That causes me to avoid certain places or people so as to not be reminded of them. This is a PTSD question.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
But very specific. This is very specifically a PTSD question. And the avoiding certain places and people is not done to not be reminded of them, which in my I'd say Mr. Linden here proves to us that he does not even understand PTSD, because people with this, they don't avoid the places not to be reminded of them, but because their bodies have physical reactions in those places or getting near those places and people. That's why when your abuser is reintroduced to you, you have a bloody breakdown. And when you go to places where these things happen, where the core places, very, very significant places, it's just that your knees can give away. Like, what's there. You can think about these places. No, I wouldn't say no problem, but the reason you're not going there, because you're avoiding them, is because it will cause you immense stress being there. And I've tried pushing through this. I tried to expose myself, to slowly push back against it. It does not work. It just does not work because the threat isn't gone. This is solely a threat response.
It's fight or flight and everything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I tried. I honestly tried. I ended up breaking down in the street and hit the ground. I hit the pavement. I didn't want to. It just my legs just stopped working. That was scary, but it's just not the type of scary that the actual PTSD stuff is. That it was just what the fuck.
Your body just stops working.
Yeah, the body stops working, and you can blame me for not crawling further. I once I could move again, I crawled back, got up slowly, and but fuck. And because I'm an idiot, I tried that more than once. Because I don't know, maybe it's this forever. I need to try again. I need to push forward, or it's the warped scientist in me that needs to figure out: is this just a one-time thing, or does this happen again? Is this reproducible or something? I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I
We
think
need
that's
more
better
data.
than giving up.
Oh well, Mr. Linden wants us to give up. We will hopefully get to that.
No,
No, we won't.
Give in to despair.
no, give in.
Roll over. Just roll over. I'd say he misunderstands PTSD, but this is clearly a PTSD question. And the bogus therapist who asked me this, I also told, yes, those places and people exist, but I'm not avoiding them to not be reminded of them, but because I get fucking breakdowns. And if assuming you would lock me in a room with one of these people, that would be a Thunderdome moment.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I don't know how that would go. I have no idea. It could just be that a severe, if you put a victim of abuse with an abuser into a room, that the victim will just slam the head in the wall until it's broken. Not even engage with the abuser, just want to get away. That's a flight response. And the fight response is as likely as the flight response. And I think this is a because the PTSD is the freeze. It happens when you are stuck in freeze mode, when you cannot fight nor flee. Then you go into freeze. That's the shock, and the shock causes the PTSD. Never lock him up, man. Sorry, I'm giving so much into personal details here.
That's okay.
I probably shouldn't.
It's relevant.
Yeah. So I don't want to get into a Thunderdome situation. I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
So 12. That makes me feel helpless and disempowered. That sounds like PTSD, specifically CPTSD.
What's the C in that?
Complex.
Ah.
Complex. The difference to complex PTSD has the PTSD symptoms and some additional ones, and it's caused by not one severe traumatizing event, but a long-term abuse with recurring abuse from the same people or similar things that are done. This is usually what is being done to victims of physical abuse, of sexual abuse, like again, child sexual abuse in religious cults, for example.
I see.
And they all say that Same goes for normal rape victims that are then gaslit about it. So gaslighting produces complex PTSD, and complex PTSD does not require a life-threatening event. It can't, because it's just mental abuse that is there to erode your psyche and your will to live. There is an intent to kill in psychological abuse, but it does this through avoiding physical harm, direct physical harm, because that can be easily traced back to the abuser. So it aims to destroy your psyche, your will to live, and kill you around the corner that way, so that you will take your own life. And that is why it's so sinister. And the target of that kind of abuse is usually ostracized and isolated, because everyone else is also manipulated around and made to think that the target is just erratic and making things up and just wants to be mean to the actual abuser. So the perpetrator victim narrative is turned around, and the gaslighter will usually call and portray the target as paranoid, jealous, psychotic, all of these things, or even narcissistic. Just project everything the abuser is guilty of onto the target. And many people around will believe that. Then they talk with other people who heard the thing, so they get they feel that it's true because other people say the same thing. An echo chamber builds, and then the new truth that defines reality, that is a lie. So the lie that defines reality is then what the psychological abuser wants reality to be, or what people to believe reality is. And then things come like, oh, you should really apologize to that person, to your abuser.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, what are you telling me? What the hell are you telling me? The person that destroyed my life, that ostracized me, maybe rape. So there can be rape in that, like as in the religious cults, for example. And then someone completely random comes along who wants to harmonize everything, believes you are the perpetrator, and that you are just in denial, and really, really tries to make you apologize, to just so that things can be nice again. And that is often the point where victims of abuse, where something snaps. That can be, must not be, but can be the last straw. Which then the abuser says that, see, told you, the person's crazy.
Right.
And that kind of behavior would completely fit. It would completely fit Michael Linden's PTED. The victim of the psychological abuse would act exactly like he portrays in his PTED crap. Or at least how the mental abuser portrays the situation. So there was no thing, there was no abuse. It's just making it all up. You just feel embittered.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the situation where you feel helpless and disempowered. That's the goal of gaslighting, where it's supposed to put you.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. 13. That triggers feelings of satisfaction when I think that the responsible party has to experience a similar situation. Man, this is badly translated. So this is another revenge question. And it's an eye for an eye version of revenge. So we are number 13 of 19, and we have 2 times revenge and aggression, when he says his PTED is all about revenge and aggression. That's what distinguishes it from everything else. And when I think about my stuff, for example, I don't take any satisfaction from any justice I would get. What he asks about is sadistic pleasure. Feelings of satisfaction when I think that the responsible party has to experience a similar situation. I can't think of a lot of abuse victims who think that. Like, oh, you got raped. Do you want your rapist to be raped too?
Yeah. Not the victims. Except maybe feminists.
Yeah, but they're
radical
crazy
feminists.
anyway.
Mhm.
They're usually narcissistic to begin with.
Yeah, that's usually the underlying.
Yeah, this is also the difference between revenge and justice. But he's not drawing a clear line. Because justice usually looks completely different from just having done unto thee what you did to me. Justice is clearing up the situation. When we're talking about psychological abuse, for example, which is almost always accompanied with reputation destruction, character assassination. If I use that term right, a part of that is process of seeking justice is uncovering the truth and repairing your reputation while pulling down the bloated up reputation, that hot air balloon of the abuser, down to earth, which the abuser will, of course, say that's reputation damage. Well, no, your reputation gets to where it should be, on the ground. So that's why I say if anyone has this PTED, this magical PTED nonsense, it would be narcissists. But he is excluding that in several instances, as well as saying that other people have. But I'm repeating myself. Number 14, that led to a considerable decrease in my strength and drive. A negative life event that led to a considerable decrease in strength and drive.
So what does strength mean?
I think just general physical health. Let's see what the German one is on 14. Das dazu geführt hat, dass meine Kraft und mein Antrieb reduziert und nicht mehr wie früher sind. Yeah, it's generally just so it's not power, it's just your physical well-being, your physical.
Oh, okay. Your well-being and your motivation.
Your batteries, your physical batteries, your general strength. Okay. Yeah, if your drive goes down, your strength will likely go down because you're not doing as much anymore. Your metabolism goes down, and this is a depression question.
Yeah.
Which can be a result of PTSD. So, depression question. Number 15. Negative life event that made that I am more easily irritated than before.
I think that means I'm more easily irritable.
Yeah. What would you categorize?
That could be anything. That's just irritability. That could be for anything. And I suppose it's matched up, but you certainly would be more irritable if you had like depression or PTSD or something, if it was manifesting in frustration.
Oh yeah. Oh, and if the PTSD is very strong and it just gets to you again and again, catches your attention too much. Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep focus, and when you're unfocused, you're irritable.
Yeah.
So, but I would still put it into catch-all than PTSD.
It's like all of these questions are PTSD, but the differentiating thing is revenge.
Of which we have 2 questions so far.
Yeah.
So, number 16. That makes that I must distract myself in order to experience a normal mood.
What?
So, yes, you're asking the right questions there, Cyrek. This is, yeah.
That sounds like a counter question for PTSD, because sometimes, a lot of the times, you can't even do something to distract yourself to feel normal. And this is a high version of it because it says 0.8.
I'd say it's a misunderstanding of PTSD. Because you don't get a normal mood from distracting yourself. You just get out of the trauma patterns for a while. The hardest example of that I can give is, and that was still in the early months of it, I was playing Bayonetta to distract myself. I was playing it on the hardest difficulty, and that's where it's just eyes to fingers. The big brain is just skipped. You have to, because it's just frame reactions, so that you dodge in the right frame, that you hit back in the right frame. It's really frame perfect. And I got a lot of platinum in my first run through that mode after dying a lot, and then it was just like being totally in the zone. And that did not get me into what I would say a normal mood. It would just make me not have breakdowns. And I'd say that's a difference. Because every time I put down the controller, if just to get to the toilet or take a drink from my teacup, I started screaming at the top of my lungs. I couldn't stop that. I had everything in my head at the forefront. So I went back to the game. There was processing going on all the time. That was processing. And it was processing while I was playing the game. But while I was playing the game, it was all pushed into the subconscious. Because my conscious mind couldn't interact with anything. It was just zone.
Mm-hmm.
If you let anything go through your big brain, when you play a game like that, you're just gonna lose. Yeah, so that's why I'd say this is a misunderstanding of PTSD. Maybe this works for borderliners, but then again, borderliners, I don't think they have a normal mood to begin with. Can't say that for sure, but it certainly looks like it. And that's not experiences I wish onto anyone.
Yeah. What would their normal mood be?
High on themselves?
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I still categorize this in PTSD, but it's a misunderstanding of how PTSD affects people. No, because if you use any other coping mechanism, you still don't have a normal mood. Whether you do that with drugs, with eating, which is really stupid, you're not getting into a normal mood. You just suppress the bloody stuff by forcing your parasympatheticus, for example. 17. That made me unable to pursue occupational and/or family activities as before.
So you're just less sociable, is that what it's saying?
Yeah, or you go into isolation mode.
Right.
You become a recluse. That can have several reasons. Can be depression because you lack the strength. It can be the depression spiral, which just that's its own thing. I think I talked about it last time. I'm not sure. It's something you have to actively work against, because the depression wants you to isolate yourself. This is a self-destruction process that you're not conscious of. But once you know about the depression spiral, you can identify these moments and actively decide against them, actively work against them. You have to. You have to force yourself against the isolation spiral. And then that's how you get out of it. It can also be severe PTSD that does this, because you do not want to burden your occupational or family activities with how sick you are, how distressed you are, how unstable you are, how you do not want to burden them with a possible breakdown of yours. This is, you could say, this would be the virtuous version of the isolation spiral, because it leads into the isolation spiral. But you would then do it out of a good, not a good, but a positive reason. However, it's still just harming you, and those may be people who could or would want to help you. Generally, I would just put this into depression.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Question 18. That caused me to draw back from friends and social activities. That's the same question.
Yeah. Was one about gatherings and then one is about personal? I mean, because it happens to both.
Well, if your family are not friends, then that's just sad. And every family has a few black sheep, but man.
Yeah, because if you're doing not doing 17, you're also doing 18. I don't know why these numbers are different, because
with things like this, I mean, he strangely enough, he has different scores on this.
Oh.
But I think this is mainly because of the difference between family and friends, or something, or social. I don't know. Maybe 17 also includes your job. What do you understand as occupational?
It's job.
Okay, so this is job and or family. I would make the hard distinction between job and family. Then I would have these as extra questions too. But
yeah, I could understand if there was 3 separate questions between job, family, and friends, but the fact that they rope in job and family is kind of weird.
Yeah, then you should rope in friends and social activities as well, because that's one big thing. Otherwise, you're just inflating points.
Yeah, because my brain just automatically added in friends and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family should be its own thing. Friends and social activities could be its own, and then job would be another.
Yeah, but for the purposes of this questionnaire, first off, I don't think this question makes sense at all. But secondly, if you have it in here, you should have all of it in one thing, so that you don't inflate points.
That could be, but then you could also say that, well, there could be a varying coefficient that something in your job life is affecting you, but your family, social, and friends are being very supportive of you, and that lessens it, maybe.
But Cyrek, you're asking therapists of then not just adding up the numbers and taking a quotient out of them, but doing extra calculations.
True. That's very true.
Okay, and last question. A negative life event which frequently evokes painful memories.
I got a lot of those.
Sometimes I'm so assaulted by painful memories that I have to pinch myself. And these painful memories, by the way, are about equivalent to getting handed a coffee. And they said, enjoy your coffee. And I go, you too.
Oh, sorry, I missed that last part.
They said enjoy your coffee when they handed me a coffee, and I said you too, even though they were not receiving any coffee. And then I felt really retarded.
You're so mean.
Or you whenever you're going to bed and all of a sudden the cringy memories from your childhood pop into your head.
Yep, all the cringe.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. But may I just say that so this can be a catch-all, but it also sounds a lot like PTSD.
Yeah, it sounds mostly like that. That's
And-
probably what I mean.
And I think this we had an oh my god, this has the highest coefficient of them all, with 0.86.
Huh.
It sounds to me like everyone has painful memories. A negative life event that invokes painful memories. Can you imagine a painful life, a negative life event that doesn't invoke painful memories?
Yeah, it sounds like a bad breakup.
Or, losing a parent
Yeah.
that you're close with. That I cannot tell you how many times I have had to console my little sister because she just calls me crying sometimes, like randomly.
Ugh.
And mind you, it's been 14 years. She will call me randomly and be like, I had a dream about daddy, or I found something, daddy, do you want it? And just crying. I'm just like, no, you keep it. You obviously really want it.
Just finding an excuse to call you.
Oh, well, at least you're close, I guess.
We are.
That's
Yeah.
nice. That's cool. So that is his questionnaire for how to determine whether you have PTED. Does this sound like what he described in his paper?
No.
Why not?
Because this just sounds like PTSD score test.
A bad one, but yes.
A bad one, yes, but with the paper, he's trying to say PTSD and PTED are the same thing. And it says PTED up there, but if you just erase that, this only looks like a PTSD scale.
Mhm.
A bad one, but it's still a PTSD scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could trick someone with PTSD into answering this. And you only need to get above 2.5 on this scale.
Yep.
And so what do we have? The notes I took is one question about embitterment, the thing that's so important to him. 2 questions about revenge. And that's everything that has to do with his PTED stuff. Where he talks about it's all embitterment, it's all aggression, it's all revenge. 3 out of 19.
And even those are so general and so applicable to people who don't even have PTSD or any sort of mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because I could answer that. Yeah, I have these experiences on a few of these, but I normally get over it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're a normal person.
That's the differentiation.
Yeah, and that's the difference to real PTSD. That's even if you want to get over it, which is a very bad formulation for that, you can't. It's stuck. You need. There are therapies for that to help you process this through, to activate your limbic system so that it can actually be neurologically processed, because that process is inhibited or blocked. That's the problem. It's not a question of wanting to process it. It's a question. It's a question of how do you? Because you physically can't.
It's like a paper jammed up in a system, like a printer.
Oh, hi Simon Carlson in the chat. Our first comment today. If you missed the streams, they're still up on the channel. You can still watch them all. I'm sorry they're not announced earlier. It's more of a thing of when do we all have time, or at least one other. I don't want to do these things alone because I want the feedback.
Oh yeah.
Reality checks. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, it's just a bad PTSD test. So because I have here 9 ticks for PTSD questions and 1 tick for a complex PTSD question, or it's one of the PTSD things. Then 2 catch-all questions, 3 which are very likely to fit on rape. So he has as many catch-all questions as he has revenge questions. Oh, and then we have 5 depression questions. Depression and grief. Great. Man, this is pathetic.
This is anybody else tired of this man?
Yeah, this is just the nature of papers and trying to sound pompous and
Yeah.
trying to make everything as like hard to understand as possible to sound smarter.
It's also that while I was going through the above texts, they sound a lot like this is from, what was it, 2003? No, 13? When was this from? 2013. This paper has a lot of texts that sound exactly the same and have exactly the same wording as this 2021 paper. He's just copy pasting text blocks.
Oh my gosh.
This guy is at the Charité. This is scary, man. Absolutely scary. So here is how frequently people answered questions. Sadly, it's a very bad resolution. The black is the 4-point answer, extremely true. The gray is very much true, so that's the relevant ones. And then we get partially true with the dark gray, and hardly true with the slashes. So what the answer over, is this the 50% line? Yes, over per 50% answered with very true. No, extremely true. And 70% with very true or more was that hurt a negative life event that hurt my feelings and caused considerable embitterment. So his core question, apparently 70% of people answered very positively. Wherever this is, we would need to look where he took the data for this one. But yeah, that's the main question. Then we get led to noticeable and persistent negative change in my mental well-being, which can be absolutely fucking everything, about which I have to think over and over again. Then that causes me to be extremely upset when I am reminded of it. We're still over 40% with the 4-point answer, and still over 50% with the 3-point answer. That I see as negative life event that I see as very unjust and unfair. Led to considerable decrease in strength and drive. It's depression, which frequently evokes painful memories. Can be anything, including severe PTSD or any PTSD. And then we're still with 3-point answers over 50%, still over 20% with the extremely true answer. That makes me frequently feel sullen and unhappy. That impaired my overall physical well-being. And only now we're falling under the 50% mark. that makes me feel helpless and disempowered. I'm scrolling down because the last 3 are the most important. In this one, as you can see, under 10% positive answers. And that triggers feelings of satisfaction when I think that the responsible party having to experience a similar situation. This is a revenge question. And that is under 10%, 20% with the 3-point answer. And his other one is that triggers me to harbor thoughts of revenge. So apparently people make a distinction between these two. And this is under 5% and overall under 10% for the very positive answers. So the whole revenge part in his thing is the least positively answered. In his whatever sample group he had here. Oh, we can look at this one a little bit, but I had a hard time interpreting this one. And the second to last question was about that led to the feeling that there is no sense to strive or to make an effort, which is the depression question that is at the end of depression. That is, I'd say these people here that answered this with extremely true and even with very much true, they're on their last breaths before giving into nihilism. These are the people who will either end in suicide, or if they answer these positively as well, murder-suicide. Or at least try to.
Yeah.
And this is a very sad part for people who answer these positively. But for the purpose of this paper, I think his own data proves him wrong.
In some senses, we do gotta get wrapping up though. Bears and all are waiting on us.
Oh, do they want to play after all?
Well, yeah, they said 11.
I asked you yesterday, are you going to play D&D? Aren't you playing D&D on Sunday? You said no.
Yes. No, they said yes.
Well, I said no, and then Bears corrected me, and I said, oh, I didn't realize.
This is horrible. You can't do this to me. Well, at least we got to the data. We can look at this last thing here.
Yeah, the last thing, yeah.
Yeah, so this was frequency distribution of 4 different samples on the PTED scale. So where he had different amounts of patients. Like in this one, I think these were inpatients in a clinic or something. That's why he got these high scores in the black part. Also the smallest sample group. So these are people who are so these are people who are already under severe stress, under severe mental stress, and you only get to a clinic when it's already quite late or too late, and since we, I think, are in agreement that this is just mistaking PTSD, deliberately mistaking PTSD for this new thing.
Yeah.
That's why we have this high scale here. And remember, this is probably from this one. I think this might be this data.
It looks like it's all that they consolidated into the groups.
Yeah, so I didn't check. This is a N100 unselected inpatient sample. We need to check in the paper where this is from, but since we're running out of time. Yeah, sloppy. Yeah, that might explain why he has such a high level here, although this is just N94, N49. German numbers are the other way around. That's why I messed up. Then we have the unselected patient sample, and you have the very true stuff already very low. General physician example, very big sample group, very low responses. So this would be a more normal population. And his train sample, where he just asked random people on a train to take part in his study that he mentioned, where he didn't even say where, in what country he did that. It's probably Germany. How would you feel if someone comes, you're on a train and some wacko, like, where is he? Is this him? Yeah. If this guy comes in and asks you, I'm doing a psychological study. Would you want to answer these questions about how vengeful you are?
No.
What's a guy that sniffs children, okay?
Well, he is part of this Catholic. What is it called?
There we go.
What is it? Catholic Foundation. Isn't it wonderful how it all comes together? Yeah. Where was it? Here. No, that's the paper. Boom. Yeah. I would expect random people on a train to be not very open to answering very honestly or openly to people just coming in and asking you these very intrusive questions. But then again, this would be the general population example, the most general population example. Remember, he said in his paper that 45% of the population might have this condition. But in this, way under 5% answered with above 3 points, with 3 points or above. How's this supposed to work? Anything else? What's this thing? Oh yeah, and just the closing joke. He put his PTED self-rating scale, this old version of it, at the end of this paper, and the last 2 questions didn't fit, so they're on a new page. Look at the line breaks, the line spaces. My autism can't take it. It's all irregular. And the line spaces between the lines, between the text lines are all different too. It's like, why?
Because it's correlating with the text that's there on the side.
Well, then it should be. Oh.
Yeah, but what about line 12? Why is it like this is? Come on.
Line 12 scuff.
Bad formatting.
I know they don't have it, but it's such a simple tool. You just distribute. There's a button in it. I know he's not using Illustrator, but there's a button for it.
You could just. I'm 100% sure you could write this more readable, because the big line spaces, there is legitimately made to make it more readable. When I read text like this, I get lost between the lines. I need proper text with the same line spaces, and the line spaces are small.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I get lost.
I'm lost looking at it.
I don't understand for what types of people this is formatted for. I think this is just a false belief that this kind of makes it more easily readable for people. Simon Carlson, you're probably making smileys here. I can't read them. My Windows can't display it.
Oh, he's doing the cry laughing emoji.
Okay, I hoped so. Yeah. High levels of psychology here at work. Okay, so this wasn't the part we wanted to get at. Sorry, but we finished the diagnostics now for sure, for real. I'll change the title of the video. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to get into the actual next meat of it. That is the treatment of embitterment. for which he, just a hint, wisdom is a resilience factor. And what he suggests we should do is, where is it? I have too many tabs.
It's all your research.
No, it's just stupid things. This is it. It is the Wisdom Therapy Trademarked Institute.
Oh, we went over that the first stream. Yeah.
We just took a peek at it. Mind you, trademarked. The Wisdom Therapy trademark. There's also I found a patent on it too.
I cannot wait for the next stream. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Oh,
This is gonna be so bad. You know, as you can see already, the base suggestions will be cognitive behavioral therapy, a skewed version of that, mindfulness meditation, and humility.
Man, these people need to learn about humility.
Yeah, other people do. They need to learn about humility so that they can worship me. That's what they think.
Just forgive your abusers.
Yep, because it's easy for me.
Take a sneak peek into the conscious cultivation of humility. Was that in here?
I need to get food now.
Oh no, it must have been another page. We'll get to it. But they will also tell us that we need to cultivate forgiveness.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Next time on Wisp Ball Z.
Simon, you seem to have fun. I am very glad. All right.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to finishing this off and visiting the Wisdom Therapy Trademarked Institute with you. So please let me know when you have time.
I will.
Oh, yes. And we'll see you then.
Great. Everyone else, I hope you took something from this too. Something positive, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Till next time. Bloop. That was Seda and Cyrek helping me read madness.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Should forget to close the stream.
Just close the stream. You didn't get it.
Hold on.
I know, I'm telling her too.
That was not a turn off button. That was the leave studio button. What the fuck? My brain is completely overloaded with this crap.
Top right.
Yes, I know. I've looked at the button for several minutes.
Your brain was like, nah.
I just leave. I just leave.
We have bits of
All right.
comedy. All right, for real this time.
Yeah. Have a nice weekend, everyone.